Hi, I'm Natalie, and today I'm going to show you how to make a French press coffee or coffee press cozy. I make my coffee this way all the time because it's really fast and easy, and it makes the coffee really rich. So now we have this acrylic template so that you can bang a bunch of these out if you want to take to craft shows. I do recommend that you have the cozy on a French press so people know what the product is. Okay, let's go overhead. I'm going to show you a way to cut this out without being on the fold. So the template says cut on the fold here, but I'm just going to show you, if you don't want to do that, how to do it. So first up, I'm going to get some chalk. Oof. So you can see what I'm doing. So I would first draw it like this, according to where I want my motif. So this is normally see-through. Our acrylic templates are see-through. And you can get the brown paper off quite easily with warm water and a scrubby brush. But I am just gonna do it this way so you can really see where it all goes. So I'm just drawing this out. So for sure it is lined up, and I can see my centering mark here, which will come off. That's just to make sure that I'm not giving too much space. I'm not cutting anything out incorrectly. I really like using chalk because it just brushes off, or if you throw this in the washing machine, it'll pop right off. Now I'm going to cut 2 of these out at one time. I have got 2 layers of exterior and 2 layers of lining, because if you are production sewing, like for a craft fair, it's just as fast to make 2 at one time as it is to make 1 at one time. So I'm just measuring this up again to be sure everything is right. Oh, I think I did it this way. This is what I did. 1 and 2. And it does not matter. I typically use the more shallow curve as the top and the wider curve as the bottom. And this is so the cozy fits inside the handle area as well. But even if you did it reversed, it would still fit. So it's up to you. And with non-directional fabric, that's such a nice thing to use because it doesn't matter. Whichever way I cut it out, it works. If you're using directional, be sure that you're cutting it out the way you want your cozy to end up. I'm going to use this as my ruler here. Move all that out of the way. There we go. So I could make 2 cozies. For this demo, I'll just do 1. So you just need 1 lining, 1 exterior, and then we want to use a fusible fleece, which I've got over here. Now you can use 1 or 2 layers, it's up to you. What I like to do is for my exterior fabric, I will fuse SF 101 on this side. just so there are no lumps or bumps showing. But for right now, let's see, I can cut this on the fold. This is what you'll do if you want to cut on the fold. Just make sure you have enough clearance. I'm going to use these straight edges to my advantage here. And you can mark it, or if you have a 28mm rotary like I'm using, you can just cut it out straight away like this. Okay, there's one. I am going to do two. You could also use thermolam if you're really into that. Just know that thermolam cannot ever go in the microwave. You could also use leftover quilt batting. I have used that many times for these coffee presses. I used to collect coffee presses like this because I don't know why. I just collect them. I have all different sizes, but this is typically the regular size. And I believe it's a 12 cup. That's usually the standard or regular. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of SF101 or similar and cut some of this out for that exterior fabric. And I only do this because now and then I get lumps when I just use fusible fleece on quilting cotton. It's not every time, but it's happened enough that I just do this step now. So I'm just cutting that out. I think I nicked my blade earlier. Okay, time to turn on the iron. All right, let's go back overhead. I've got 2 pieces of fleece, 1 piece of the SF101 or similar. So first I am fusing the SF101 to the wrong side of the exterior fabric, and I'll trim it down exactly once I get this fused on. This is a similar to SF101. It's not actually for real SF101, and I'm just giving it a try. So I am going to spray it with some of this, not starch, but starch, this flatter. Seems good infused, but let's do it again. I'm going to clean up these edges in just a few minutes. Okay, now I'm going to fuse the fleece to the lining, or this is the lining. And now the remaining fleece is going to go right on top of the SF-101. So right there. Okay, so now I'm going to clean up my edges because I never seem to cut my interfacing exactly the way it should be cut. And I don't have a problem with it. I just clean it up after the fact. Now, if your machine really doesn't like layers at all, you can cut your interfacing 1/4 of an inch smaller and keep it out of the seams. However, my only warning with that is if you wash it in the washer and dryer, it could separate unless you quilt it. So if you're going to do that, I suggest that you quilt the layers, which I normally don't do for these slip covers, because if I'm going to take the time to quilt it, it's going to cost more. All right. So now place these right sides together so that the curves match. Shallow curve, deeper curve. And if you need to clean up any edges, do that now. You can use hook and loop, which is Velcro. You can use snaps, or you could do a button and a loop for the closure for this. I'm gonna do the cam snaps because I love it. That's how I do all of mine. So the snaps will go over here once we've sewn this together. So you do want to leave a bit of an opening so that you can turn it right sides out easily. I'm going to leave mine quite big. So this whole area I'm going to leave open. So I'll start here and sew all the way around, and I'll stop here, flip it, and then I'll close this. In fact, I'll base stitch this so the fabric learns to behave. And remember, a base stitch is just a really long stitch. So I'm going to sew this whole thing at about 2.5. I think that will allow me to go around those curves really nicely. And then on that opening part, I'll turn it up to a 5. So I hope Renell has set me up with the sewing machine camera. He did. Oh. Okay, let me move my cords. And away we go. I'm using about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Whatever you do is fine, just keep it consistent. Now we're going to trim our corners. You can trim down some of the seam allowance. Now on these curves, you can opt to grab pinking shears. For me, it's not that big of a curve, so I don't really get that nitpicky, but if you want to, you can, okay? I do like trimming down some of this stuff though, and get those corners out of there. Reduce the seam allowance bulk a bit. We do this in clothing a lot, where you really trim down the seam allowance. All right. And then for this part, this long edge, I'm just going to trim down that seam allowance a bit more. Okay. Make sure I've got everything. Make sure I didn't clip into any stitching. Looks pretty good. All right, I've got my iron ready and hot. I'm just gonna turn this right sides out. Oh, looks like I missed that seam. No big deal. Just come back over and I'm gonna re-sew that. You want to get your Easy Point Expert Point and Press tool so you can really pop these corners out. I still haven't located mine. I must have taken it home, so I'm going to have to use my purple thing. And then these corners, make sure you push those out. And then these corners down here, come in with your finger and push them out. Nothing will want to go naturally. You have to bring your fingers in and push them out. Just like I teach you in the Easy Zipper case with the zipper tabs. Yeah, you have to mold it and make it behave. Okay, there we go. I even go along the straight edges and I gently press my tool against the edges to make them pop. Now I'm gonna bring back my ironing mat. I'm gonna give this a press and then I'll fold those under. Oh, I forgot to base stitch. After I said all that. And then I forgot to do it. That shows where my head's at today. Not on planet Earth. It's in outer space. I'm gonna go from both sides. Okay. And now I'll tuck this free edge under. And you can use pins or clips and just get it as straight as you can. Try not to obsess too much over it, because I'll tell you what, nobody else will notice. Do the best you can for where you're at today. That's my motto. And if it helps you to cut away interfacing later after sewing, that's fine. You have to do what works best for you, and what works for one person might not be the best technique for the next person. So it's a bit of playing around with sewing. There we go. Looks pretty straight to me. Okay, I'm going to start at one corner and just continue all the way around to top stitch the whole entire thing. Here we go. Oh, I can lengthen my stitch to 3 now. And I just want to be sure, let me grab my stiletto, because sometimes on those open edges, it's always a good idea to just grab it and keep it in place while you're sewing. And you don't have to go fast. You go as slow as you need to go. See how my pink thread just melts into this fabric? That's why I love grunge so much. But I've got a white bobbin in, so we'll see the stitching from the front, and that's totally fine with me. You can absolutely top stitch from the other side. This is again just how I do it. I've probably made 200 of these things, if not more. I used to sell the heck out of them at craft shows in England when we were stationed there. All right, so trim any threads that you need to trim. Looks like I've just got this one. And then what you want to do is grab your cozie. I'm going to clean my area up and then take you overhead. Move my iron. And what I like to do is take my pot and then measure it around. And then I know where to mark for my snaps. I think I want this one on top. And you want it nice and snug. And it's gonna snap on, so I don't have to worry about slipping. So what I'm gonna do is mark this. So I'm gonna put a snap here. I'm gonna press down a bit, I think. We'll make a mark. Yep, I could just faintly see it. I'm gonna do one snap there. And I could do another one over here, but let's just start with the one snap. And remember how it's going to go together. So you wanna be sure to put the mating sections, one here, one on the inside, so that it really snaps, if you know what I mean. I've been there, done that, where I've mixed that up. Let me get my snap press. You can cut here while I get my snap press out. God, it's so dirty. Gross. Okay, so let's see what color. Ooh, maybe we want the lime. That would be really fun. So I'm gonna need a female part and a male part and 2 caps. So what I do is, since this one is going to be on top, I place this one first. So I'm gonna put the cap there, and then whatever die I have in is going to be the other side. So I've placed my cap, place it in there. And there's that one. There's that side. Now this side has to be the mate to this. So the cap will go on this side. And then I have to change my die out. Okay, so I'll do that in just a second. Use my old racing bike tool to change my die. Oh, that's not the right one. This one. So I just flip out this die, put in this die, make sure it's nice and tight in there. I always put my tools back in the case and my die so I don't lose it. I put the female section up here in this die because that's the right one. And then I have the cap and it's semi-pushed through. Lay it on the bed there. Get positioning correct. And then apply it. And I did it correctly, I hope. Yep. All right, let me close this case and I'll bring the press over. Oops, I gotta put that one away. And now this will keep my coffee warmer. It'll keep my coffee warmer than if it was just a glass container all by itself. Let me bring it up a little bit more over that metal. It's really, you can position it wherever you want. I like it somewhat over that metal ring. There. And these are machine washable and dryable. I do it all the time. I've washed mine probably hundreds of times. I don't know, I don't keep track. But yeah, there it is. And just think, it's a great scrap buster. It's a great item for a craft show, but have your display there. And then have it tagged, you know, French press cozy, one of a kind. Have all the attributes of handmade on your tag, and then engage people and talk about it. Because getting a handmade gift is so much more special than something from Home Goods. You know what I mean? It's just really awesome. And you could even make it for housewarming gifts as well. Have a basket from Goodwill that's cleaned up or painted and looking nice. Get some tissue or crinkle paper in there. Pick up a French press at Goodwill. They're always there. Clean it up, vinegar it, you know, get it all looking good. Make a cozy. Put that in the basket with a bag of coffee and this cute little baby, maybe some hot pads. Maybe an oven mitt. How nice would that be? And it would cost you next to nothing, because just the other day I picked another French press up and it was like $3. They're over 20 new, so still not expensive, but why not reuse when we can? Okay, well, I hope you have fun. I want to see all your French press cozies in the makers group. Please post your photos because I share those on social media all the time. And remember, just keep sewing. You're fine. We're all fine. Everything's fine. Peace, love, sewing.